When I started losing weight on a GLP-1 41 weeks ago, I thought I'd be at goal by now. We've all seen those dramatic before and after weight loss stories with Zepbound and Ozempic and all the other GLP-1s. So why not me, right? But the reality is my progress has been slow. Even though I'm working really hard, I've alternated between feeling frustrated and being pretty okay with it. Today I'm sharing why I think I'm losing weight slow, why it's been so hard to deal with, and the cognitive strategies I'm using to stop feeling like something's wrong, and yes, even embrace the slowness. So before you give up or panic that it's taking too long, stay with me. You might be right on schedule after all. I weighed in this week, but I forgot to sync my app to the scale when I was doing the weigh-in, so I forget the exact number, but it was up less than a pound. For those of you who are just joining me, I started 41 weeks ago at 210.1 pounds, and last week my weight was 184.3, I think, and this week it was 184 point something. It was higher than that, I just don't remember what. But the bottom line is, like, no huge change. It was Halloween, and I'm not surprised the scale didn't go down because of the nerd clusters I ate. What is in those things? What is in those things? Seriously, they are so good. And usually things that are super sweet haven't really tasted as good to me while I've been on a GLP-1, but not this week. So the scale hasn't really gone down, but overall I'm down about 25 pounds still. And I've been hanging out there for a while. I just increased my dose to 7.5 milligrams of Zepbound, so we will see what happens with that. It's too soon to know if I'm feeling anything from the increased dose. I might be a little tired from it, but I'm not nauseous, and I haven't had any more appetite suppression as evidenced by all the nerd clusters I ate at Halloween. I am going on vacation in a couple days. My husband and I are going to Austria for a do-nothing vacation where we're basically gonna be in a hotel in the woods, not near a city or anything, just chilling. He had a whole bunch of points from all the work travel he does, and so the flight and the hotel we didn't have to pay for. I feel so lucky, and we've never been to Austria before. And we really like getting out of the country right now. If you know what's going on here, it's not great, and avoidance is one of my superpowers. So getting out of the country is kind of my ultimate way of avoiding what's going on in this country. I don't know if it's healthy or not. I'm not going to analyze it too much. I'm just going to go chill out with my husband for a week. So next week I won't have an episode, but I will take some video to share the trip with you when I'm back. And I realize the risks of going out of town right when you increase the dose. So I'm bringing Miralax, I'm bringing Mago 7, I'm anticipating some constipation from the long flight and from this medication, making it easier for me to get constipated. So I know those things work. And I'm also bringing Zofran in case I get some nausea, because on Zepbound, when I started and when I upped to 5 milligrams, I had a little bit of nausea. So I'm bringing the Zofran, and yeah, we will see what happens. Like I said, I'll keep you posted. If you're new here, hi, I'm Bobby. I'm a therapist and an artist, and I'm sharing my GLP-1 weight loss journey here on YouTube. I am not a medical doctor, and I'm not your therapist, so none of this is medical or mental health advice. I'm just sharing my journey. Always check with your own healthcare providers when you're making decisions for yourself. I am thinking about getting a rebounder, and I know there are those of you out there who really like rebounding. I've never done it. Is it low impact? Because I need low impact, and it looks awfully, bouncy. I know Ginger Goes GLP-1 loves rebounding. I know Donna at Snow Better Lifestyle has a rebounder. There must be others of you out there. If you want to let me know, just what you think of it. I get bored and I want to try new things, and that's something I've never tried before, and it seems really popular. If I do decide to do it, I'll probably just get something really inexpensive on Amazon to see if I like it. I'm not going to invest in anything really expensive, but that's something I'll think about after vacation. I think the biggest reason why slow progress feels so hard is the gap between expectation and reality, because For months, maybe even a couple years after menopause, I could not lose weight for love or money. I could not lose weight. I was trying, I was in a calorie deficit, I was doing all the things that had always worked my whole life. Nothing was working. My weight kept creeping up and up. It was crazy making. So when I started the GLP-1, that first month, I lost 9 pounds. And it was amazing. It felt so good. So it set this expectation, not that I would lose 9 pounds a month, because I know, initial weight loss is usually faster, but it did set an expectation that maybe I would lose like a pound a week. I thought I was being really realistic in thinking like, wow, this is working. I can probably lose 50 pounds in a year, and that would get me to goal in a year. I thought I was being really conservative and realistic. And so it didn't feel like high expectations, but it turns out I'm not averaging a pound a week. I am averaging 2.5 pounds a month. So, 2/3 of a pound a week. So that gap between my expectation that I had set and reality has made it feel really slow and really hard. So I've been working on shifting my expectations and shifting my mindset so that I'm not feeling so frustrated and impatient. To put it into context, I have about 50 pounds to lose, and it's taken me 9 months to get to the halfway point. And I know I'm not alone because I've met you in the comments. Those of you who are content creators, I've seen your videos. I know I'm not alone. In fact, let's do what I've done before in a past video. If you are someone who's losing weight slowly on a GLP-1, leave a turtle in the comments so that we all know that we're not alone. And by slow, I think I mean maybe less than a pound a week on average, because normal weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's like a really normal, healthy weight loss. And so less than a pound a week is kind of slow, but it adds up. Like whether it had taken me 41 weeks or 25 weeks to lose 25 pounds, I'm still 25 pounds down. So slow weight loss counts, but as you probably know, it can be frustrating. And it's not a total mystery why my weight loss is slow. I'm post-menopause, so I've gone from losing no weight or weight creeping up to losing a little bit of weight. That's a lot of progress. Hormones and everything after menopause do tend to make it harder to lose weight. Also, I have been in no rush to up my dose. In fact, I could make an argument that I've been a little bit slow in upping my dose, but I've really wanted to wring every last drop out of each dose. It hasn't been a thing, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with going up in dose, but I haven't wanted to rush it. So I've sort of set myself up to go slow. I've set myself up for this frustration in a way. But as impatient as I can be, I would rather go slower on the medication than faster. I think that's just my comfort zone. And a lot of the times, even though my weight wasn't coming off fast, my appetite suppression was so significant that I didn't want to go up in dose. I might say, oh, I've only lost, a pound in the past month. Let me go up in dose. But it's that month that I only lost a pound, I had to work really hard to eat. I was not hungry. So why do I want to increase the dose and have to work even harder to eat? So I get why I've gone really slow on the medication, but there probably is a world where I could have just based on how fast the scale was moving, just ramped up to lose the weight. And I haven't prioritized that. So I think that's one reason why, for me at least, it's slow. Another reason is that I have been really careful about trying not to undereat by focusing on eating 3 meals a day, counting my calories and or tracking my meals or my protein and fiber. So despite the appetite suppression, I've been trying really hard to eat a balanced diet and to keep a fairly small calorie deficit. I thought I was at a calorie deficit to lose that pound a week that I thought was realistic, but it turns out, I'm off a little bit, and in the end, I've got to be okay with that. If I could go back 41 weeks and start over, I wouldn't eat less. I wouldn't try to cut out meals or, eat less than what is healthy for me. Early in my GLP-1 weight loss journey, I started working with a dietitian, and we only meet every couple months. I think I've met with her 3 or 4 times, but it's been really helpful. She set a calorie goal of about 1,700 calories a day for me to eat with my activity level and to be able to lose weight steadily. So that's what I shoot for. And I know that I could try to eat, 1,100, 1,200 calories a day, and maybe I'd lose weight faster. Maybe not at first, because it would lower my metabolism and, my body would start to try to hold on to weight. But let's be honest, if there's a famine, people will starve to death. It's not like they hit a plateau and they survive with insufficient food. Eventually there's a breaking point where the body will starve. So if I was just focused on getting that scale to move faster, I could drastically cut my calories, and yeah, my metabolism would slow down, but at some point it can only slow down so much and I would lose a bunch of weight. But that is not the way I want to do it. So I remind myself of this when I'm feeling frustrated that, well, there's another way, Bobby. You could starve yourself and you could lose all that weight. And it's like, oh yeah, that's not why I'm doing this. There are so many not healthy factors that influence my thoughts and probably all our thoughts, about diet culture and good foods and bad foods and things that, I really want to fight against. I don't want to honor those thoughts and feelings. Another reason why I might not be losing weight fast is I have been strength training consistently throughout this GLP-1 weight loss journey. So that can slow down the scale because I'm increasing my strength, hopefully increasing my lean muscle mass. So that can slow down the scale too, and I'm not willing to give up strength training. Okay, so all of these are reasons why when I sit down and think about it, it totally makes sense that my weight loss would be slow. But there's still a part of me that's like, God, you're on a GLP-1, you see all these people who lose weight so fast. And I'm not a super responder, and some people do all the same things I'm doing and they're super responders and they just, lose a lot of weight really fast. And that's not me. So I'm not gonna lose a lot of weight really fast. So let's talk about the cognitive therapy I've done on myself to embrace losing weight slowly. Because what's the alternative to embracing it? Being frustrated all the time, beating myself up as if I'm doing something wrong, starving myself to get faster results on the scale. I've rejected all of those. So I've just got to embrace it. And another disclaimer, this isn't actual therapy, okay? These are just things I tell myself to help keep myself motivated and positive in the face of making a lot of long-term health behavior changes when the results aren't always quick. If I need therapy, I don't do it on myself. I get a therapist. So I'm not teaching you how to do therapy on yourself. I'm just sharing some cognitive behavioral techniques that do help in shifting our mindsets. When my brain is saying, this is taking too long, my weight loss is too slow, what is wrong? I know that it's time for a little cognitive reframing. And this is what you do. You identify the negative thought, you challenge the thought, and then you develop an alternative, healthier thought. So in this case, I'm like, what is wrong? My weight loss is too slow. That's the negative thought that I've identified. Challenging it is questioning the validity of it and seeing if there's really any evidence to support that my weight loss is too slow and something's wrong. And I could give you reasons for days why nothing's wrong. I went through a lot of them earlier. I'm postmenopausal, weight loss is slower. I'm purposely not starving myself and eating more. I'm lifting weights. All of these things I remind myself of. And I develop an alternative thought that's more balanced and realistic. And so instead of, oh, this is taking so long, the alternative thought is, there's no finish line. I'm making progress. It's going in the right direction. Nothing is wrong. And it does help, but those forces that lead me to think, oh my gosh, this is so slow, they're powerful. And so this routine where I stop, I say, wait a minute, is it true? Is something wrong? No. It's going in the right direction. There's no finish line. You got this. That process, oh my gosh, it's multiple times a day. It's a lot of work. And then I've been weighing in every week, and sometimes the scale goes down, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it goes down the tiniest bit, and it's I've had this great week, I'm eating healthy and I'm exercising, and I lose 0.2 pounds. And the cognitive technique that helps me with that is called broadening your perspective. Broadening your perspective is something where you shift your focus from kind of a narrow view to something that considers the bigger picture. So when I'm focused just on the scale and like, oh, the scale went down 0.1 pounds this week or something, that's a very narrow focus on one piece of data. And so I broaden my perspective and I say, but you got stronger at the gym, you got all your protein this week, you got really good sleep this week, your clothes are fitting better, you haven't struggled with food noise this week. All of these things where I'm like, wow, okay, that one piece of data that the scale, didn't go down or didn't go down significantly, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. In the course of being on a GLP-1, have you ever just thought, it's not working, stopped working, all my efforts having zero impact? I feel that way sometimes. And there's a term that you may be familiar with called catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is when you exaggerate the severity of things in a negative direction or focus on the worst possible outcomes. And when I'm in the middle of catastrophizing, I feel pretty hopeless and helpless. It's a pretty hopeless and helpless place to be. But the thing is, when you're catastrophizing, you're ignoring all kinds of evidence that that catastrophe isn't really accurate. So decatastrophizing is a particular kind of cognitive reframing where you take all of that, like this is a catastrophe thinking, and you balance it out. So when I'm thinking, oh, this work is doing nothing, this isn't working anymore, God, I should just give up. That can turn into, well, it's working on my food noise. Actually, the scale is going down. It's just not going down as fast as I want it to. So something's working. And once I get on that roll, I can think of all kinds of other evidence that kind of cancels out the catastrophizing. Like, wow, the fact that I'm losing weight consistently at all is completely different than last year before I went on a GLP-1 when I couldn't lose weight for anything. So there's been some kind of big shift in my metabolic functioning. And also, before the medication, I was pre-diabetic and I had high blood pressure, and neither of those things are true anymore. So see what I mean? When I start challenging the catastrophizing, it kind of falls apart. I joke around a lot that I'm kind of a sloth. Well, I don't even know if it's a joke. I do feel like I'm kind of naturally comfortable being at rest, shall we say. It takes a certain amount of effort and motivation for me to go to the gym or meal prep. And it does help a lot when I'm in the habit because you just require less of that initial energy to get moving in the direction of what you want to be doing because it's a habit, and so you're just kind of naturally pushed that way. But it still requires effort. And anytime I get out of my routine, like when I go out of town and I come back, it takes me a while to get back on track because of that initial effort to get moving or to get meal prepping. So the cognitive behavioral technique I use on myself is around behavioral activation. The principle behind that is that taking action shifts your mood and your motivation instead of the other way around. Like instead of waiting until I'm motivated to go to the gym, you go to the gym to become motivated. So I do the workout or I do the meal prep even though I don't want to do it because I've learned that my feelings catch up afterwards. This isn't easy, and the way that I sort of trick myself is just tell myself I'm allowed to do things that I don't feel like doing when I know that I'm investing in future me. So I'm going to take the hit now for future me. And the hit is like, ugh, I'm going to go to the gym or I'll meal prep. I'm going to take that hit because I know that future me will be really glad. That's the little conversation I have in my head. One way to help with this is another cognitive technique called future pull. And it's where you imagine your future self. So imagine that you've got a bunch of meals all set up in your fridge for the week, or, imagine yourself after a workout being really strong and feeling really energized. And you put yourself in that future you and think about how good that feels and let that good feeling pull you towards that future. When you're imagining that future you can even say, okay, future Bobby, what did you do back when you were sitting on the couch not feeling like going to the gym that got you to such a great place? And it's like, well, you put on your gym clothes and you went to the gym. So it makes it easier when you feel some of those positive feelings that will happen in the future. It becomes a little more enticing to do those things that you don't want to do. So I've got all of these goals of strength training my upper body twice a week and my lower body twice a week, or meal prepping or eating 3 meals a day. And I do not succeed in those much of the time. I try. It just doesn't happen all the time despite my best effort. And I can be really prone to thinking like, oh, I skipped the gym once already this week. I blew it. Forget it. I'm not going to go today. Or, oh, I didn't meal prep. I'm just going to grab another protein bar, even though I know that I want to eat like some fresh fruits and veggies. And this is basically all or nothing thinking. And the cognitive technique that I use to counter that is called good enough thinking, which is basically countering perfectionism with more realistic standards and self-compassion. Last week's episode about 13 things I do that help keep me on track, I wanted to be really open with you. Like one of them was a vitamin. And so I said, but I gotta be honest, I forget to take it a few times a week. Like these are things that I do that I think help me, but I am not perfect about them. So when I start to feel like, oh, what's the point? I keep forgetting to take this freaking vitamin. I should just, give up. I'm like, no, you're taking it 4 days a week. That's gotta be better than nothing. That's gotta be something that's helping to fill in nutritional gaps. So if you notice yourself in that all or nothing thinking, try to shift into good enough. Like it's good enough. You don't have to be perfect. None of us is perfect. Okay, the next cognitive technique that I want to talk about kind of applies to all of the things we've talked about. All or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, reframing negative thoughts. And it's about naming these traps that you find yourself in. You can literally name them like, oh, there's negative Nancy. But I have names for them like, oh, there's that drama queen telling me like, oh, forget it. You just need to give up. This is not working. I'm like, okay, drama queen, calm down. And I have an inner mean girl. I guess in my mind, she does kind of look like Regina George, but the mean girl who's like mean to me, and will bully me and stuff. I like naming the different parts of ourselves because I do a lot of parts work as a therapist and I find it to be a really effective type of therapy. When I'm talking about just using it on myself, it's basically taking these unhelpful thought patterns and externalizing them a little bit by giving them a name, and it reduces their power, and it also like gives a little bit of levity to it. Like, oh, okay, mean girl, I see you. The other cognitive technique that applies to all of these unhelpful thought patterns can help you when you've got conflicted feelings and you're just not really sure what's accurate. A lot of times I'll have the feeling of, God, I'm so frustrated, this is so slow. But then I'll have a conflicting feeling at the same time of like, I know my clothes are fitting better and I feel so much healthier. And you're sitting with these two conflicting feelings and you're like, which one is it? We're kind of naturally inclined in a conflict to figure out like what's right and what's wrong. And feelings don't work that way. Like conflicting feelings can all be true. And the cognitive technique is the both and technique. So the both and technique is basically just accepting that both of those things are true. Like my example of, oh, I'm so frustrated, this is so slow, and wow, I feel really healthy and my clothes fit better. It's like those are both true at the same time. Remember, feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. And using both and statements, like I'm both frustrated and feeling healthier, is a way to integrate your conflicting feelings instead of invalidating one of them. So, I'll say I'm frustrated by my slow progress and, I'm feeling healthy and I'm proud of myself for showing up. I'm wondering if you're relating to any of these thoughts. Let me know in the comments if you would, because in my imagination, I'm talking about all these and you all are just like, oh man, Bobby is crazy. And I know I'm not crazy, but yeah, it's really weird to share all of this with you. I still do have to use these all the time, but honestly, I don't have to use them as much as I did in the beginning. When I was hoping in the beginning for that 1 pound loss, it was harder to be patient when I was getting no loss or a tiny increment of a pound loss. And now I show up for the weight loss with kind of an expectation of maybe it went down, great. And so then if I lose 0.8 pounds, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a huge week for me, yay. So it really does help you land in a different place. And honestly, I'm talking about this in terms of the scale because there's so much focus on our weight. I even call this my weight loss journey, even though honestly it's like a health journey or a fat loss journey. But weight loss journey is kind of the language that we use to talk about this. So it's very focused on weight. And of all of the metrics that I'm keeping track of, the weight is one of the least dramatic. And I've become more accepting about that. So it's kind of trained my mind to expect different results. Patience has never been a strong suit for me, so I feel like this is helping me become a more patient person. If you practice cognitive behavioral techniques in any part of your life, it's going to bleed over to other parts of your life because it just helps with emotional resilience. And specifically in terms of the scale, if I did have to choose fast or slow, I think I would choose slow. Really rapid weight loss can stress out the body. So I feel like the fact that my body only wants to lose weight slowly, in the end, I'm never going to regret that. It's just that it has required recalibrating my brain to think about weight loss differently. If your weight loss feels slow, hopefully these reframes help you to adjust your expectations and to feel like you're not doing anything wrong. Remember, if your progress feels slow, leave a turtle in the comments, and I'll see you in 2 weeks because I'm going on vacation. While you decide which of these videos to watch next, I'm going to put some quotes up about expectations because I really feel like this is all about resetting our expectations. And every day that we're making choices that benefit our health is a day well spent. Thanks for watching.